by a show of hands, who here is on a social media platform? Of any kind, raise a All right, now, raise your hand if you frequent this platform at least once a day. Minimum once a day? Okay. Finally, raise your hand if you can think of one social media influencer whose life seems perfect. Like, pretty perfect life. All right, put your hands down. When we hear of social media, we think of its characteristics as we know them. Fame, influencers, virality, scandals, canceled, algorithms, and perfection. Social media, although we may see it as a distraction from our everyday issues, was originally intended to bring people closer together by the click of a button. That's right, the money-making, exploitative, fraudulent platforms we all know and love today were originally made for communication. Mark Zuckerberg, in fact, is quoted in 2012 saying that Facebook was not originally created to be a company. It was built to accomplish a social mission, to make the world more open and connected. I think we can all agree, social media has strayed pretty far away from its original purpose. Just walking through the halls of SRDS today, we can see an overwhelming amount of people interacting with this alternate virtual world. TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, X, Twitch, YouTube, Pinterest, the list goes on and on and on until we all become obsessed with this idea of satisfying ourselves through other people's lives. The stay-at-home mom influencers with their perfect workout routines in their perfect houses with their perfect families. The men influencers with their endless money giving tips on how to become a millionaire by the time you're 25. The teen influencers with all the products they get sent for free while always going on priceless vacations. The dogs never bark, the babies never cry, and the parents never fight. But I'm here to tell you, they all do. Freshman year, I started a public Snapchat story titled Hauls, where I posted things that I bought, received, or was gifted. Anyone could join, but within the first couple uploads, I started receiving conflicting messages, like, "It must be so hard being spoiled. I can't imagine what it's like to never have to work for anything. It must be great to always have everything handed to you." Now, simultaneously, I was receiving messages like, "I'm obsessed with these hauls, these are my favorite videos," the list went on. I wasn't posting anything from super high-end brands or things that people would see as exclusive or super difficult to get. But as these messages came in, I realized keeping my story public was not conveying the truth about my life. So I had to come up with a solution, and I decided to make the story private. Well, I thought I made the right decision. I started receiving new messages, this time saying things like, "When's your next haul? Don't take me off the story. I missed the hauls." The list went on. So now I was really confused. So I stopped and thought about the outside perspective. No one really knew my life or my situation. And from these videos, it looked like everything I was showing was perfectly gamed. So I adjusted my approach. I started including in these videos what my jobs were, the sales that I got things on, and the reasoning behind the purchase. This provided a sense of reality and understanding for the people who were genuinely clicking on my stories. So I thought about it. If my story had only 57 viewers and people were already forming false impressions, what would happen with millions? This experience opened my eyes into the false realities people can form with barely any information. So, it led me on my path to discover, why do people form false narratives about what they see on social media? Well, according to the Interaction Design Foundation, it first comes down to the user experience design and how it's taken a shift towards personalized experiences. Whether this means the social media apps themselves or the reaction it gets from viewers, this idea has driven the experience tremendously. When you like, comment, repost, scroll past too quickly, favorite, save, share, follow, etc., you have entered yourself into that platform's algorithm. Congratulations! Every piece of content that appears on your screen from this point forward has been perfectly crafted by the app to sell yourself back to you, keeping you on a revolving door of manipulated content. The content from these apps has continued to be a downward spiral of manipulation. While you can find certain creators who do post realer aspects of life and body positivity and their true selves, it is way more common to find those who strive for this perfection. Now, a couple months ago, a short docuseries came out on Hulu titled Devil in the Family, which was based on a YouTube vlogging family and the dark secrets that occurred when the camera shut off. Also, recently in California, several laws have been passed stating that content creators who feature children in at least 30% of their content have to set aside a proportionate percentage of their earnings into a trust fund that child can access when they turn 18. Shortly before and after this law was passed, many notable content creators have announced their move out of California. For the people on the other side of the screen, the never-ending scrolling patterns that we all receive has led us to feel like we aren't meeting social expectations in our own lives. We start to ask questions like, why don't I have a Lamborghini at 25? Why am I not flying first class? Why don't I have the success other people so often portray? I'm happy in my life, so why do I feel like it's not enough? Fortunately, I wasn't the first to ask these questions, and I found out about some key psychological theories that occur when expanding on this topic, starting with the dopamine feedback loop, otherwise known as a social media addiction. The New York Times explains that tech companies understand what causes dopamine surges in the brain, and they lace their products with hijacking techniques that create compulsion loops. So, when a post goes viral, it creates a rush of dopamine for the creator that stems from this need for approval. That is the reason that we all post, to gain more attention than we would from face-to-face interactions. Following the lead of the trend, if another creator posts something of similar nature and doesn't receive the same amount of recognition, they feel feelings of disappointment or jealousy. This constant cycle of anticipation and expected reward has subconsciously resulted in the need for validation to overtake the desire for communication. Human beings, at their core, that are social creatures, understand and have experienced this well-known feeling of FOMO, or the fear of missing out. This can also be known as the upward social comparison theory, which the American Psychological Association defines as comparing oneself to someone judged better than oneself. People can often see content creators attending exclusive events, traveling to extravagant places, and even participating in viral challenges. That it leads them to feel feelings of inadequacy in their own lives. So, after discovering all these theories, my path has led to one answer. The only way to avoid these feelings that social media manipulates us to feel is to outsmart it. Allow me to explain. While we can't necessarily control what is posted, as that is up to the users themselves, we can control how we consume it. It's highlight reels and Photoshop photos and stage situations. No one wants to post themselves crying after they got in a fight with their significant other. No one wants to post themselves crying because they got rejected from their dream school. No one wants to post themselves crying because they're struggling with their self-confidence. Granted, I do understand that viewing social media through this lens, this gilded lens, can be really challenging, especially considering we all have been literally conditioned to feed back into the algorithms. So, I challenge all of you. Next time you feel yourself overwhelmed by the screen or glued to it, push yourself to break out of that digital maze social media has us all trapped in. Whether that means taking frequent breaks, blocking distractions, breaking out from that small screen and reconnecting with the world around us, or even deleting the app entirely. We hold the power to reclaim our time and focus. So I'm telling you all, right here, right now, hit the not interested button, delete the toxic apps, and post only what you want to. I promise whatever you feel you're missing out on is not worth it in the end. Remember, it's not about fighting technology. It's about learning to outsmart it and create space for the things that truly matter. So, take control, set boundaries, and watch your world open up in ways you've never imagined. Thank you.